Hello everybody and welcome to my video, Getting Tidier. So I never told you, the morning of the World Book Day when my daughter had to get all dressed up as Cinema Roll and I had to sew her in her dress and do her hair, etc, etc, I did her cheeks with this sort of like pink, she didn't like it. And I remembered that in this cupboard there were face sponges, new face sponges. So in my urgency, everything I'd put back in, I had to rip everything out. So the towels, my spares, the toilet rolls, everything. So here I am, a few days after World Book Day, just putting everything back. And then I also wanted to show you my pile from yesterday. And I do feel really excited about getting stuff out of the house, moving things on. So these were all my odd socks, which, well, not all odd. Some of them were just got holes. And I was ruthless. And thank you for your support on that. If there was a tiny little hole, and in the past I'd think, oh, I'll darn that, I'll sew that. Oh, that's okay. We can still keep wearing that. My husband's got hundreds of socks. Everyone buys him socks for birthday or Christmas. So tiny hole, bin. And doubly good news, I put it all in my bag, which sits next to the rubbish bin, and it's gone. The whole massive great bag out of the house, gone. Excellent. So this was yesterday. Yesterday, I decided to do some clearing up in the kitchen after I'd done that massive drawer sort out. So most of this washing up was left for Mother's Day, and I can't complain because my husband did so much for me on for Mother's Day. Breakfast in bed, all my lunch, really lovely roast dinner that all of us had together, and various things throughout the day that I'd asked him to get sorted. In the morning, when my mum and her partner came round, I had a moan because that radiator is still sitting in my hall. You know, the radiator that he bought, and it doesn't fit, and we've got to get it couriered back to Glasgow. And it looks like the courier cost was going to be more than the cost of the radiator. And my mum's partner literally sat on the sofa and said, oh, I found out here this company can do it for £70. So my mum said, that's it, to my husband, you can get that done. It's Mother's Day, you can fill in the paperwork for that. So I decided that after my big drawer sort out, I would come and do some more washing up, just finish off the washing up. There was like the carcass of the chicken and some other things for food bags that just needed to, again, be moved on out of the house. The food bin gets collected on a weekly basis. I used to just use that for cooked foods, and all my sort of peelings, fresh waste, mouldy apple or whatever it is, that used to all go into the compost heap until one day I lifted the lid off the compost heap and this massive grey otter, well, it was a rat, but I call it an otter, was looking at me. I'm not scared of rats, but it's just I don't like being made to jump. And when you literally lift the lid up and there's one looking at you. And then when we had the chickens, there were a few times they found a way of being able to get in the run. And of course, if you've got a food source, you can end up with a problem. So we caught them a few times. And honestly, some of them are so big. And they scream at you when they're in the trap. So I think that the big thing that where you've all helped me with the kitchen is, even when there's that looks like there's loads of washing up, because I've got now so much more space in the cupboards, excuse me, I still have got this cough coming and going. Because I've got the space in the cupboards, I can just put everything away so much quicker. And it just seems that it's so much easier to keep on top of the kitchen. I know many of you are sitting there thinking, I told you so, I told you so. Yeah, you told me so and you were right. The other thing I just want to say, exciting news in terms of followers. We've got our first follower from part of Asia, Iran, incredibly. Also, we've got our first follower from Greece. So welcome to the Iranian follower and the Greek follower. And a follower from Missouri. Is that correct? American state name? Another American state name that I find a bit tricky? Incredible. I'm so excited about that. It's now North America, Canada, Europe, Asia, And I also, on my statistics, that shows that there's someone following from India, but they've not commented yet. So if you're listening and you're from India, I'd love to hear. Oh, also South Africa. I don't think we've had anyone comment from North Africa, but I've definitely seen that we've got some North African followers. They just haven't commented. And then I wanted to show you, this is my haul. So this is all getting into a bit of a state, but all these piles are all things that I've sorted to go out. So did you see the radiator there? So that radiator is going to be gone this afternoon because my husband's filled all the forms in, and that's going to go. I've got stuff to go for Girl Guides. I've got stuff for the charity. I've got a book that I need to return to somebody. It's so great getting rid of things, but of course that then means that you've got a period of where sort of things are sitting in the hall a bit. And then that leads me on to today. So this morning we got up and took our daughter to school first thing this morning. I didn't think my husband was going to go on the school run today, but he did. Oh, we were really nearly late. I don't know why. I think we got up at a similar sort of time, but there was sort of a bit of faffing about getting ready. And my husband started work because he's got quite a few calls this morning. When we got down, he'd set everything. He'd packed my daughter's bag for her, which is good of him because we're trying to get her to do that more herself. But he'd helped out because there was not much time. When we got to the school, there was literally 1-2 minutes before registration. So I took her violin and her viola into the music room and she ran off. So hopefully she made it to registration on time. And then I came back, I logged on, did a bit of work, and then I had an observation of somebody, one of my learners who's studying business. So I went and sat with him and observed his work. So I diarised to be there for about 2 hours to do the review and to do the observation. But when I got there, he said, oh, I've got a dreadful cold. He said, oh, I'll sit the other side of the room. And I was thinking, oh, I wish I'd not come in today. And then when I sat at the desk, of course, I was sitting next to him and he's absolutely full of it. You know, nose streaming, coughing, looking really ill. So in the end, at about 10 to 11, I said, oh, I think we should finish here. I said, I think you should go home, put your feet up, drink lots of water and have some rest. And I was thinking, I really don't want this. So I actually came home and I don't like really cold orange juice. So I took the orange juice out of the fridge and left it on the side in order to drink some orange juice today. So then I did some washing up. So again, just trying to keep on top of the washing up so that you don't go in there and sort of hunt around for a work surface, etc., etc. So I did some, and when I first came home, I did some work. I just logged on and just wrote up the observation. So I like to get that done whilst it's fresh in my mind. And then I decided to go and do some washing up and clearing up. It does feel like it's a never-ending job. I think the truth of it is, I don't think I'm ever going to have a tidy house like how some people have a tidy house. Because like you've all told me, I do have a lot of things and a lot of stuff. And I think because of that, then it is much harder to keep on top of things. I keep looking at those funny sort of shaving jugs that I got given from that bag that I'd put in my mum's loft. And I keep thinking, like, why am I actually keeping them? I should just get rid of them. I think what I'm going to do is, all the things that my dad has given me, I'm going to give these shaving mugs to my dad. As they belonged to his cousin, who had learning disability, or as they then used to say when I was a little girl, they referred to him as being mentally handicapped, which is not suitable terminology nowadays, is it? But so he had learning disabilities. We used to go and visit him when we were little. So these shaving mugs belong to him, so I think I might give them to my dad, as he's been giving me bits and pieces. What do you think? And then it'll be up to him to keep them, get rid of them, do whatever with them. So you can see not long I can get that work surface cleared, and we've got like a big space there in a very short period of time. And my saucepans can just go get put in the cupboard rather than sit around. I think that's the key, being able to have spaces where you can just put things away. I thought my husband was going to be home when I got home, but he'd already left to go to his mum's. So he's borrowing his mum's car for tomorrow because I need the car and he needs to go into his head office. Although incredibly, after organising this whole thing with the cars, I now don't need the car. I'll need to do the school run in the morning, but he could have done that on the way into work. But no, someone yesterday messaged me in this meeting that's been in my diary for like 3 months. She said she's got to cancel it. Which in a way I was like, yay, I don't have to drive out there. Because it's about 15 miles away from where I live. And it was just sort of a catch up and understand a little bit more about some services that we provide that I'm not so familiar with. So it's more just around my sort of general awareness and knowledge, really. So I finished my lunch and I watched a little bit of telly, and also one of my learners who's been put through for their final assessment, I got a message from the Endpoint Assessment Organisation to say they don't have their maths and English, which is not true because I submitted all the certificate and everything, so I don't know why they've rejected the person. So I then rang them up and spoke to somebody who just had absolutely no idea. The funny thing is, don't you agree that the older you get, you kind of always think that all these organisations have got it together and they all know what they're doing? And actually, the older I get, the more I realise that I think every organisation, there's issues and problems, and actually they don't know what they're doing. So we'll see what happens with that. So today, being Tuesday, normally my daughter has her flute lesson after school and often we'll see my mum. The nice thing about today is that the flute lesson's been moved to Friday because she's got a face-to-face lesson, and she's going to my mum's tomorrow after school because I've got parents' evening. Remember the parents' evening that I hardly had any notice for? Well, actually, I dropped a ball with that because one of the other mums told me that they'd advertised the parents' evening at the bottom of the newsletter, and I just hadn't seen it. I do read the newsletter every week, but I just hadn't seen this note where they said about the days. And apparently other mums in the same situation as me is not being able to speak to the maths teacher, not being able to speak to the Latin teacher. The only ones who managed to get appointments with all the teachers were the ones that literally put in a request for appointments at 4:05 when the window opened at 4:00. So they got the appointment straight away, and I did it the day after. And of course, this lady who's tried yesterday, she's got appointments for about 2 teachers, and that's it. And then yesterday I was at the school as well in the evening. So we picked up our daughter together, and then I'd got the food in the car. So she had dinner in the car on the way home, and they came home, did a little bit of homework, practiced the violin, got ready for bed, and then came and picked me up. So I attended a school event on PHSE lessons, and some of the topics that they want to talk to children about I'm not comfortable with. I feel very much that we should be, as adults, protecting children. And I don't know, I just think that childhood is a fleeting time in our lives. We all grow up so quickly, and suddenly you're paying bills, you're going to work, and you've got all the chores to do, as I am. So although it's 2 years away, I just wanted to see the approach that the school take to certain subjects and see what I thought about it, really. So I have got some feedback about it. I understand that children could potentially come across all sorts of things in social media. But again, I believe it's the role of us as parents to protect our children so that they don't have access to some of the awful things that are available at a very, very young age. I mean, they were saying that most recent statistics in the UK was showing that children as young as 8 or 9 have seen some really horrendous things and are spending 15 hours on social media, which I think is a great shame. But anyway, I digress a little bit, don't I? Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm always interested to hear what other people think, particularly in terms of what's happening in other countries. I think some of the problems in our country are perhaps worse than other places. I'm not sure. And then I decided after lunch that I would do some work on our stairs. So I'm sitting here on the landing and the stairs up goes to our bedroom. So we had this changed about, I'd say 12 years ago. When we moved into this house, nothing had really been done to it, and since the 1960s-ish. And I can remember the next door neighbour saying, oh, the house was fully rewired when the lady who sold it had retired. Well, she'd retired like in the 60s, so the fact that it had been rewired then was still meant that the wiring, sorry, put my teeth in, the wiring was very old. So, yeah, it needed an awful lot of work. And we didn't straight away get the roof done, but literally if you opened the loft hatch, you could see light shining through the tiles because it was done with the traditional reed and tile as opposed to being lined. So we always knew that was a job that needed to be done, but we knew that it was a big job. So we did get some quotes initially, but there were so many other things to do. And at some point, if you're interested, I'll post some photographs of like what the kitchen looked like and the bathroom and so on. If you're interested, then let me know and I'll put that in a future video. So when we came to doing the loft, we then asked the builders, well, to do all the roof, how much would it cost and how much extra would it cost to actually have it converted? And so we ended up going with this builder who they did all the structural work, and actually it was not that much more to get the whole loft converted. Of course, then as well as that, we had to have the carpentry works, had to have the stairs in, and I wanted the staircase to match with my other staircase. So there were, extra things like that, but that could be done over a period of time. So I think we got the main structural work done probably 11 and a half, 12 years ago, and then we finished it off and actually had our bedroom up there from about 9 years. I didn't want to be up there for quite some time until my daughter was older, just because I felt like that was too far away. I wanted to be on the same floor as her when she was tiny. So the reason why I wanted to just do some work on this stairs was because it ends up being a bit like the lower stairs, where you just put things on the stairs to go up or to go down, and yet they just sit there and they end up forming their new home on step 1 or step 2. And it's getting a little bit like you have to dodge the items as you walk down the stairs or walk up the stairs. There are also some Christmas things on the stairs, so only things like a Christmas pen, a Christmas pencil. Oh, my sister came back from Barcelona and got me a Christmas decoration. So just a few bits and pieces that just need to go up and be put in the Christmas cupboard. Some paperwork that I needed to have a little look through and check. My husband's books, which I'm not sure whether he's read them or not, but they're all part of this series that he loves. So they all need to go up and sit all together. And then I don't think he's going to want to get rid of any of them, but we'll see. To be honest, with books nowadays, I just think our library service is so amazing. Unless it's a book for a really special occasion, I would sort of always encourage people to go to the library. But he did go to the library and they didn't have the series in. And he read book 1 really quick and wanted to do all the others. And I think it's really good to read. And I think it's really good to read in front of our daughter, like when we're on holiday and so on. So she can see that's sort of a hobby and an interest that goes beyond me saying, have you done any reading today? So yeah, there are lots of bits and bobs on the stairs. You might be asking what that is in the corner there. I've got a little wooden box that has knickknacks in. And then the box on top of it is a writing set, and the writing set I took out of the cupboard from downstairs, but the problem with is I don't really know what the home for the writing set is. I don't do a lot of writing. I want to keep the set, but it's sort of sat there and hasn't really got any further. So there were some clothes on the stairs and my daughter has left up in our room when she's got changed in our room rather than hers, so I just threw those down. They're clean clothes, so they just need to be put away. Also, there were some other things that just need to be bins. And I should just say, those lovely fluffy cushions that you can see in the picture? They were what my dad brought round from the house clearance that he's been doing. His partner's mum sadly passed away. They're really lovely fluffy cushions and a lovely fluffy rug. And my daughter said yes, she wanted them and she was really pleased with them. But we noticed in between when she had these 2 coughs that she was getting really wheezy. And what I realised was that it's the perfume. They smell of perfume. So I've just put them on the landing, and my plan is when it's sunny and we've got a bit of a breeze, I'm going to get them on the line and just try to, get some air to them, because I think they could be dusty and perfumey, and if we can't get the smell out and we can't do anything about it, then they're going to have to make their way to the charity shop, unfortunately, because I can't have additional things in her room that, that are dusty or smell. Both her and my husband, and actually me, but only since when I had pneumonia in 2016, we're all a bit sensitive to different perfumes and smells. So when they got me that lovely soap for my Mother's Day present, apparently they smelt quite a few, and there were quite a few that made them wheezy. So I didn't want to get one that made them wheezy. But no, certain sprays with me, there's a spray that my husband sometimes uses in the shower. Doesn't affect him in the slightest, but if he uses it, I can't go in the room. I can literally feel it on my lungs. And do you know the crazy thing? The really crazy thing? All this marketing and all the money that these companies get from all these different cleaners that claim to do all these different things. And yet, I said to him, we agreed that was his job to clean the shower glass. He mentioned it to his mum, and his mum said, "Have you used vinegar?" I did laugh and say, "Oh, I can't believe Adrian's asking you about cleaning. He never cleans anything," because his mum thinks he does everything in the house and that I don't do anything. That's what I always feel anyway. Whether that's reality or not, sometimes you perceive a situation wrongly, don't you? So it might just be me. But I just get that impression that she thinks her son does too much. So I did say in front of his mum, "I can't believe you're asking your mum about cleaning. You never clean. It's just that one shower screen that I've asked you to see if you can get sorted, because my husband uses the shower the most." And long story short, the vinegar has made it come up like it's brand new. And I think, isn't that ridiculous? All these different sprays, shower spray, a cleaning spray, all these different things we tried. Vinegar was number one. Vinegar in a warm rag was number one. So once I've cleared all the stairs up, I've moved things upstairs, so I've still got a lot more to do, but I can't spend the rest of the afternoon on the stairs. I then got just one of my normal cloths, run it under warm water, and then I go right into the gaps. And it did make me smile that when I mentioned this before, someone said about how they've tried it out and thanks for the tip. And I thought, goodness me, like somebody who's actually used one of my tips. I really don't consider myself to have much knowledge about any of these things. But if it worked for them, I'm happy. Works for me. It's the bit the Hoover can't get to, that sort of join, that gap. And because of me and my daughter's long hair, I just find dust and hair really, really builds up very, very quickly. You end up getting a big pile of, dust. So I go through right up the top of the stairs and do all the little gaps. At some point I do just need to hoover the main stairs as well. And so I just also want to say, some of you did make me laugh when you said about, we need to see the spare bedroom. Now the spare bedroom, the door is always shut, apart from if my husband goes in there to get something and then he leaves it wide open. And I always say to him, if we have someone pop round, and often with some of our family members, the first thing they want to do is run to the toilet. I said, and if your dad runs up, uses the toilet, he's just going to be straight in front of the top of the stairs is the spare room, our old bedroom. So you look into it and you just be honestly horrified. There's like piles of stuff. And what I discovered yesterday, after spending all that time putting the washing away, the door had been left open again. And I saw that's where he'd put the washing basket. So where I'd thought that big pile of washing was all the washing I needed to put away, for some reason, when I've said to him, "Are you able to take our washing up to our bedroom?" he's been putting it in our old bedroom. But that did also make me laugh, those of you that have said that we've got too many clothes, because it just made me think, well, if there's 2 basket loads of clothes in there, they're obviously not things that we missed, are they? Are they things we actually need? So, that did make me smile when people said about, we need to see in this room. Honestly, I don't even know where I'd begin. So my plan is just to get the things done. So like my bathroom, clean, and the cupboards are done. My daughter's bedroom, clean, floor clear. I need to get more books out and more toys out. Landing, just make it clear. Our bedroom, I've got a lot to do. The playroom, I need to find a way of storing those games in a different way, of getting rid of some of those games, and then just make that more clear. So after I've done all these things, yes, I am going to do the old bedroom, the spare bedroom. But I will have to do a video after I've cleaned it. So I'll clean and tidy, and then I'll do a tidy up video, and you'll still be looking and thinking, wow, she's got a lot of work to do in there. But I will have actually already worked for about 4 hours before I let you go and see in there. Yeah, it's got lots of things that have just been dumped there. Holiday things. I've got a box for emergency food supplies. So that's in there. So that's in the event if we have a power cut. I've got some water, some basic food supplies, because all the shops will go crazy and there'll be nothing on the shelves. So I've got a bit of an emergency kit on there. It's got a double bed. It's got a wardrobe and 2 chests of drawers, which are covered and which are full. And then, yeah, just piles of things. And then under the bed, I've got all this material. So I used to work in Manchester and Birmingham briefly, and they have like rag markets and material markets, and I used to just go along, and if I saw some fabric I liked, I didn't have a purpose for using the fabric. It was just if I looked at it and liked it, then I'd just buy it. Not bought any fabric for a long time now, but I'm sure there's lots of fabric under that spare bed that my daughter will like now making projects with. So here's a couple of pictures of after, in terms of the stairs nearly being clear. Top of the stairs have got piles and piles of stuff now, but at least I've cleared that part of it and cleaned that part. And then the end part of my video shows the playroom with all the things that I need to find homes for, all the things that I need to stack and put away and sort out, which I am going to focus on. And I've got spare space on some of those shelves for some of the books, which is good. So I hope you're all well. Thank you very, very much for your ongoing support, kindness, ideas. Appreciate all the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.